Welcome viewers and subscribers. Please remember to like, share and subscribe. And now the news. The police have identified a man who they believe can assist their investigations into the selling of drug-infused sweets to children at a primary school in St. Anne yesterday. 65 students of the Ocherius Primary had to be rushed to hospital for medical attention after they bought the sweet from a vendor outside the school gate and fell ill. Speaking at a Jamaica Constabulary Force press conference this afternoon, Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson asked Devon Holness of Mansfield Heights in Ocherius to contact the police. Education Minister Favour Williams says efforts are being made to determine how drug-infused sweets came into the possession of a vendor who sold them to children at the Ocherius Primary School in St. Anne yesterday. Several children fell ill after consuming the sweets. Mrs. Williams visited the children at hospital yesterday and again today after she addressed stakeholders at the school this morning. Among other things, the Education Minister said the ministry has to look at how schools engage with vendors, such as the pop-up vendor yesterday. The infant who died after being trapped in a collapsed house in Bowden Hill, St. Andrew this morning has been identified. She is 2-month-old Timera Denny. Firefighters and residents had launched a search and rescue for the child after the house collapsed in a landslide at around 6:15 a.m. The baby girl was found unresponsive and taken to hospital, but passed away. Police say the mother and her deceased child's twin were also inside the house, but were able to make it out. Head of the St. Andrew North Police, Superintendent Sharika Service, told us that she and her team visited the family of the deceased baby girl this afternoon. Superintendent Service says follow-up visits will be made and counseling services will be sought for the family. Minister of Health and Wellness Dr. Christopher Tufton has sought to assure the country that the government is on top of the dengue outbreak. This amidst concerns raised by opposition leader Mark Golding. Speaking at this afternoon's sitting of Parliament, Mr. Golding questioned why it took so long for the ministry to declare the outbreak, given that the threshold was passed in July. The outbreak was declared on Saturday, September 23. Meanwhile, the number of presumed suspected and confirmed dengue cases recorded across the island has risen to 1,117. Minister of Health and Wellness Dr. Christopher Tufton gave an update on the outbreak while speaking at this afternoon's sitting of Parliament. The 5 to 14-year-old age cohort continues to be the most impacted group. Dr. Tufton noted that the bulk of the cases are of the type 2 strain, which has not been seen in the population since 2010. Dr. Tufton explained that while Kingston and St. Andrew continue to lead the case count, there are several parishes with high rates of transmission. He added that the ministry's mitigation efforts continue with the additional 600 temporary workers that are being engaged. The Constitutional Reform Committee, CRC, has arrived at consensus regarding how Jamaica's president will be selected once the country transitions to a republic. Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs Marlene Malahoo Fort made the announcement while providing an update on the committee at today's sitting of Parliament. Mrs. Malahoo Fort said the committee has agreed to a vote in Parliament being a part of the process. A member of a Jamaica Defence Force JDF mobile patrol was wounded in the Denham Town Zone of Special Operations ZOSO after trying to apprehend men suspected of being involved in a shooting incident in the community yesterday. According to an official statement from the force, the mobile patrol responded to gunshots heard in the vicinity of Last and North Streets, where they saw men running from the direction of the explosions and onto a premises on Charles Street. The members of the mobile patrol pursued the men and found them on the premises where they tried to detain them. The JDF says the men started behaving aggressively towards the security forces and resisted the attempts to take them into custody. During the detention process, a JDF service member received a stab wound on one of his right digits. With the assistance of additional security personnel, the men were detained by the JCF and brought to the Denham Town Police Station for processing. The JDF has appealed to all Jamaicans to comply with the lawful commands of security forces as they work to safeguard all citizens. Tariq James, the man who is said to be the top shooter in the One Don gang, was sentenced to 17 and a half years in prison. The sentence was handed down by Justice Brian Sykes in the Home Circuit Court today. Justice Sykes said the court had to take into account James being responsible for the death of a citizen by his own hands. And Justice Sykes sentenced ex-soldier Jermaine Johnson, who was convicted of being a member of a criminal organization, to 9 years and 9 months in prison. Justice Sykes said Johnson was leading a double life as a member of the Jamaica Defense Force and as the personal bodyguard of Andre Blackman Bryan.
Can't have a soldier providing security services for a gang leader. So this is not about just deterring you now, but all other would-be members of the security forces must know that if they choose to get involved with criminal organizations, then the punishment is going to be commensurate because it is a betrayal of everything.
Chief Justice Brian Sykes. Earlier today, Stephanie Cole Christie, the lone woman in the trial, was sentenced to 9 years and 9 months in prison. The sentencing for the One Don gang concluded today.